This is nothing new. Iran's biggest trading partner is China. I think China is probably going to most likely ignore any kind of sanctions. China does not care. So does this move the goalpost at all? I would say no.
We're going to talk about US issues now because it's been a busy week in the United States, and US broadcaster LaDonna Harvey is here with all the latest. Good evening, LaDonna.
Good evening. How you doing?
It's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Or what time is it? Where are you in the States? Are you DC, New York?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I am living currently on the face of the sun, which is in fact trying to kill me. And it's noon here. So it's pretty good, midday.
Well, it does seem one thing. Wherever you are in the world at the moment, there is weather. Now, Donald Trump always makes the political weather, and he has threatened Iran with economic D-Day, as he calls it, in a bid to topple the regime and break the deadlock in that conflict. He warned countries that continuing to even trade with Iran would result in tremendous economic consequences. It's currently unclear what this could entail, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent promised to share specific details in a press conference on Monday. Following the president's Truth Social outburst, he brushed off the question when ABC asked him if peace talks could resume.
Maybe at some point, but right now, I think the situation is so good, but maybe at some point.
OK, LaDonna, I mean, even from the outside, on a basic level looking in, this feels like a slightly desperate play to break the deadlock. And if it is that, the Iranians haven't moved for much, why would they move for this?
I don't think they will. I mean, you're talking about a government that's probably one of the most sanctioned governments in the entire world and has been for decades. This is nothing new. Iran's biggest trading partner is China. I think China is probably going to most likely ignore any kind of sanctions. China does not care. So does this move the goalpost at all? I would say no. I can't see where it would.
I mean, they're not saying what the sanctions are. What does Trump have recourse to? What's left in terms of the US sanctioning Iran?
But I don't know. And without control over the Strait of Hormuz, which we don't have and they don't have, let's be, very clear about that. Nobody really has control, just nobody's moving right now. Without that control, you really don't control the situation. And right now the situation feels like a stalemate. It's felt like a stalemate for quite a long time, and I don't know how this is going to move us into any direction to where we can say, okay, things are going to be fine. We're going to open the strait. We're going to get the oil moving. We're going to get more moving through the strait and take the economic pressure off of other countries. It's just not happening. It hasn't happened.
Also in Trump news, the Supreme Court has allowed Trump to continue construction on his ballroom. I mean, he hasn't always got his way with the Supreme Court recently. Is there an argument that this is just, well, let's just let him have a win? He clearly wants this ballroom thing to happen. What stage is the ballroom at in its construction? Has construction started? Has it been paused? Has it resumed?
It is paused, and it's more of a deconstruction than a construction. If you look, there's just a big pile of rubble where there used to be part of a ballroom. So I don't know if the Supreme Court really thinks that way. They're really more of they're more methodical than that. What they're saying is that the stay that was supposed to go into effect today is not going to happen, but this is an administrative thing. So the entire Supreme Court could then come back and go, yeah, well, thanks for building part of it, but you got to stop again.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is just another maneuver, really.
Natalie Harp has risen to prominence recently for her apparent devotion to President Trump. So for the uninitiated in the UK, who is Natalie Harp and what is this story?
Natalie Harp is an assistant of his. I don't know why I can't say that word. She apparently rode in the trunk of a car to be a part of Trump's entourage. She seems to be one of those people who gets involved in politics for, perhaps all the right reasons. And by that, I mean, she's a true believer. She believes in everything that the man does, and she is one of his biggest cheerleaders. And who doesn't want to be surrounded by a cheerleader? I would like that myself. Can I have a cheerleader? I would like a cheerleader.
LaDonna, you're talking to a guy whose main job is stand-up comedy for a living. I mean, that's literally all I want. In fact, if there was a way of doing it, I'd just be paraded through the streets and people would applaud me for no reason. But, you know, you've got to earn your keep. Speaking of earning your keep, Harrian, I mean, that's not a good portmanteau of their name. Harry and Meghan, after leaving the UK for the hills of California 6 years ago, they are now returning to the UK.
Take me back to dear Almighty, put me on the table in the town. Take me anywhere, drop me anywhere.
That is the kind of British spirit that I think that they're coming back for. I think that was a perfect. It is big royal news, but questions still remain about where they'll live, what they'll do. Reports are saying that Meghan is in talks to star in Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman TV series, but also what will this mean for their security? I mean, how has this been received in the US, LaDonna? Because there are some British stories that we perhaps overestimate their importance to US, but the royals are always good copy. They're good headlines. Is this a big story stateside?
It's kind of a big story because of the story that it's not. These two tend to suck the air out of every room that they walk into. And so they've sucked the air out of the United States, and they and their cloud of smug is now headed back across the pond to basically plague your world. They have done nothing. They have done absolutely nothing. Their foundation went belly up. Their friends have all abandoned them. I think everybody is just a little bit tired of the poor me thing. That's not generally a kind of an American attitude.
Right.
And
Okay.
with Meghan, it's like, ugh, we've had enough of you.
I mean, I do think there are some cynics out there that are saying that no one really wants to pay millions for their podcasts or their TV shows about making jam. I mean, that is, I think, a deeply cynical take, I think. But I love the way that you put it, LaDonna. We're going to talk about Tupac now. Let's just remind ourselves of the sounds of Tupac.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming, fiending for money and alcohol.
I mean, any excuse to play that it's never a bad time to play California Love by Tupac and Dre. But Tupac Shakur's murder trial, believe it or not, has been taking place in Las Vegas this week. The former gang member, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, is standing trial for murder and orchestrating the musician's death back in 1996. He has pleaded not guilty and the trial continues. LaDonna, can you just give us a quick rundown of what this trial is and why it's taking place? Because a lot of people in the UK will be aware of who Tupac was, his legacy, obviously that awful night of his murder, but they'll be very surprised to hear that this trial is happening now.
Well, it's happening now, and he's not even the one who is accused of pulling the trigger. Keefe D, it is his nephew, he says, who pulled the trigger. Now, was he in the car? He says, yes, he was, even though he's pleaded not guilty. He has told police and investigators that he was the driver of the car, that he handed the gun to somebody else in the car. They said, no, thank you. The nephew grabbed the gun and fired into the car where Tupac and Suge Knight were inside. This apparently was an offshoot of some brawl at a nightclub the night before. And, you know, I think we would all agree that if you're going to have beef, all I want to hear after the word beef is, would you like that mid-rare or would you like that Béarnaise?
No
it
shooting,
is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard of, having beef with somebody. We get into arguments with people all the time. We don't have to kill them.
No, I mean, yeah, when you think back on the gangster rap era in the 90s, it was a very different musical landscape to hip-hop now. I mean, Drake and I can't remember who was the guy that he had the long running back and forth. It's mainly words now, which perhaps is a bit healthier. But there was some evidence that came from Dwayne Davis's memoir. What did he say in it? Has he sort of incriminated himself?
He did incriminate himself. I'm not really sure how you defend against a book you wrote that basically says I did it.
I mean, is there any...
No, well, I was making it up. I don't know.
I mean, I know it's prurient, but, you know, in the UK, these kind of trials, they are sort of glamorous to us, I dare say, in the UK. Yeah. So is there celebrity interest? Are we talking star witnesses to appear here?
There are supposed to be star witnesses. As to whether they call them, that's a really good question. I don't know. A lot of the people, unfortunately, involved or even on the periphery, have since died. I mean, Suge Knight, he is no longer with us. He can't testify as to what he saw. This has been one of those enduring mysteries that, unfortunately took a really bright light of music and just snuffed it completely out. Hopefully, people who loved Tupac and were really good friends of his will come forward and tell the trial what they know, tell the jury what they know.
Yeah, finally get some answers. Now, would this sound scare you in the early hours of the morning?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
That was, of course, a clip of the serial killer doll Chucky in the film Child's Play. Well, a manhunt is being launched to find a man who chased a woman whilst wearing a Chucky-style Halloween mask. The incident took place around 5:30 a.m. on August the 12th in Philadelphia, which resulted in a 40-year-old woman suffering an injury while being pursued. Authorities have named the suspect as 22-year-old Zimmery Hughes and said he may have fled for California and Nevada. LaDonna, this is quite twisted and sick. Is it? Why do you think this has caught the imagination? Is it the interaction with the movie, perhaps?
Maybe he just thinks it's fun to chase women. I don't think any of it is fun, quite frankly. If something like that happened to me, I would probably grab the nearest stick and just beat you about the face and neck to try to get you away from me.
I mean, it's
funny and terrifying at the same time.
I mean, he held his phone up to his victim. There are a lot of these so-called pranks happening. But I don't know about you, but what I deem to be a prank involves some level of intelligence once upon a time. But a lot of this stuff seems to be preying on unsuspecting people and terrifying them. Is that a problem in the US as well? We have plenty of them here.
It is. In this age of TikTok and YouTube and, I want to go viral, I think that there are an awful lot of people who are very interested in being famous just for, one reason or another. I guess they think it'll be fun. But that would be actually terrifying for the person on the other end of it. There are too many horror stories of women being attacked at night and killed and dragged off somewhere. There's nothing funny about that.
Agreed.
At all.
Agreed. Well, let's hope they find this guy. And LaDonna Harvey, thanks very much for joining us.